Long ago, people did not use money. If a farmer wanted shoes, he found a shoemaker. The farmer might offer wheat for the shoes. This system was called barter. It was a simple way to trade. People exchanged things they had for things they needed. This worked well in small communities. Everyone knew each other. They understood the value of different goods. Food, tools, or services could all be part of a barter deal. This was the earliest form of economy for humankind. Barter had big problems. Imagine the farmer with wheat. What if the shoemaker did not need wheat? What if the shoemaker wanted pottery instead? The farmer then had to find a potter. This potter also needed to want wheat. This is called the double coincidence of wants. Both people in a trade must want what the other offers. This made trading very difficult. It took a lot of time and effort. It also limited how much trade could happen. Complex trades involving many people were almost impossible to arrange smoothly. To solve these problems, people started using commodity money. These were common items that everyone agreed had value. In some parts of Africa, cowrie shells were used as money. In other places, people used salt, cattle, or grain. These items were useful. Salt could preserve food, cattle could provide milk and meat, grain could be eaten. Because these items had their own use, people trusted them. They became a common standard for exchange. This made trading easier than pure barter. Using commodities as money was a step forward. It solved some issues of barter. However, it still had its own challenges. Cattle were valuable, but you could not easily divide a cow for a small purchase. Grain could spoil over time. Carrying large amounts of salt or shells was difficult for big transactions. People needed something more convenient. They needed something durable, divisible, and easy to carry. This need pushed humans to find better forms of money. The search for a more perfect medium of exchange continued. Humans eventually discovered metals. Gold and silver were particularly attractive. These metals were rare. They were shiny and beautiful. They did not rust or decay easily. Importantly, they could be melted and shaped. This meant they could be divided into small pieces, or they could be combined into larger amounts. This made them very useful for trade. They had qualities that commodity money often lacked. Their durability and divisibility were key advantages for early economies. The first coins appeared around 2,700 years ago. This happened in Lydia, which is now part of Turkey. The Lydians made coins from electrum, a mix of gold and silver. These coins had a fixed weight and value. Often they were stamped with an image. This image, perhaps of a king or a god, guaranteed the coin's worth. Around the same time, China also started using metal coins. These early coins revolutionized trade. They were easy to carry. They were widely accepted. This made commerce much smoother and more widespread. As trade grew, carrying large amounts of metal coins became cumbersome. Imagine merchants traveling long distances with heavy bags of gold or silver. This was risky and inconvenient. In China, during the Tang dynasty, merchants started using paper notes. These were like IOUs. They represented a certain amount of coin held elsewhere. This was an early form of paper money. In Europe, goldsmiths also began to issue paper receipts for gold deposited with them. People started trading these receipts instead of the actual gold. Governments soon saw the benefit of paper money. They began to issue official paper currency. At first, this paper money was often backed by gold or silver. This meant you could, in theory, exchange your paper note for a certain amount of precious metal. Over time, many countries moved to fiat currency. Fiat money is not backed by a physical commodity. It has value simply because the government declares it legal tender. People accept it because they trust the government. This system relies heavily on collective belief and trust in the stability of the issuing authority. The 20th century brought new changes to money. Banks started using computers. Electronic payment systems emerged. Credit cards and debit cards became common. Money started to become less physical. It existed as numbers in a bank's computer system. When you used a credit card, no physical coins or paper changed hands. Instead, information was transferred electronically. This made transactions faster and more convenient. It also allowed for easier tracking of financial flows. Money was transforming into pure information. Then, in 2008, something new appeared: Bitcoin. It was introduced by a personal group using the name Satoshi Nakamoto. Bitcoin is a digital currency, also known as a cryptocurrency. It does not exist in any physical form. It is entirely digital. Bitcoin uses a technology called blockchain. A blockchain is a shared public ledger. All Bitcoin transactions are recorded on this ledger. This system is decentralized. This means no single bank or government controls it. This was a radical departure from traditional monetary systems. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have several potential implications. They could make sending money across borders cheaper and faster. They might offer financial services to people who do not have bank accounts. This is often called financial inclusion. However, digital currencies also present challenges. They can be very volatile, meaning their value can change quickly. This makes them risky as a stable store of value. Governments are also struggling with how to regulate them. There are concerns about their use in illegal activities due to their anonymous nature. The rise of digital money is changing how we think about value. Money is becoming increasingly abstract. It is data, pixels on a screen. Programmable money is also a concept being explored. This means money could have rules embedded in its code, for example, money that can only be spent on certain things. Central banks around the world are now exploring their own digital currencies, or CBDCs. The story of money is clearly not over. It continues to evolve with our technology and our societies. The shift to digital forms represents another major chapter in this ongoing human story. Money in all its forms is fundamentally a story. It is a system of mutual trust. It is not valuable in itself, especially paper or digital money. A piece of paper currency has little intrinsic worth. Its value comes from the shared belief that others will accept it for goods and services. This collective agreement allowed humans to cooperate on a massive scale. It enabled the building of cities, kingdoms, and empires. Strangers could trade and work together because they shared this fiction of money. This trust is the silent engine of our economies. The invention of money had a profound impact on economic development. It allowed for greater specialization of labor. People could focus on specific skills. A baker could bake bread all day. A doctor could focus on healing. They did not need to produce everything themselves. They could sell their goods or services for money. Then they could use that money to buy what they needed from others. This increased efficiency. It led to the growth of markets and the expansion of trade networks across vast distances, connecting diverse cultures. Different cultures have used various forms of money throughout history. In West Africa, cowrie shells were a major currency for centuries. They were used in trade networks that stretched across the continent and beyond. On the island of Yap in Micronesia, people used giant stone discs called rai stones. Some of these stones were huge, several meters in diameter. Their value came from their size, craftsmanship, and the difficulty of transporting them. These examples show that what constitutes money is a matter of social convention and belief, not just physical properties. Money has been a powerful force in human history. It has fueled innovation and progress. It has allowed for the accumulation of wealth and investment in large projects, but it has also been a source of conflict and inequality. The pursuit of money has driven exploration, conquest, and exploitation. Understanding the story of money helps us understand human civilization itself. It reflects our ability to create complex systems of cooperation. It also highlights the challenges we face in ensuring these systems are fair and beneficial for all. The evolution of money continues, and its impact on our future will be just as significant.